Hello, 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 everybody. Greetings and welcome. We got a bunch of people coming in here, so we're going to give everybody a few minutes to get situated. Got a lot going on, a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. It's an exciting day. Let's see if,
it's been a fun one getting this planned, huh, Master Jedi?
Certainly, it's been crazy. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing is we've been so excited, but we just haven't been able to share too much. But I'm looking forward to today's AMA quite a bit. So
Absolutely. We have some special guests here today as well. They're getting going. We have the Lunar Foundation directors here. We have special guests here. Very excited. All right. We have 41 people in here so far. About ready to kick this off, you think so?
Yeah, we can give them a minute or two and then we can get started and let them trickle on in. Yep. We are going to record this for people to listen back on, and when they get a chance they can ask questions or however in chat, just like we normally do in Discord. Or if you guys aren't comfortable posting questions here, you can do it in Discord. Just let us know and we'll kind of check back and forth too.
Yep. And we're going to be answering questions for days and days, so don't worry about it. If we don't get to your question, we will. We promise.
And are we going to do a FAQ for this one too, Jedi?
Yeah, well, there's plenty more content that's going to go up. There's plenty of content that's about to go up. There'll be plenty of information. So
awesome.
No worries.
It looks like our special guest is raising his hand to get let on. So
yeah, should we let him up here?
I definitely think we should. He's definitely earned it, right?
All right, I think so.
Hey, hi. Nice to be here. Thanks for letting me up. I'm very excited for today and working towards this announcement. This has been in the works for a while, so it's good to finally get this out into the world.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell the group who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Caleb and I come from Unji Eco, which is a project that was kind of birthed at a similar time to Luna, and we've been associates, or we've been contemporaries in the space for the last year. And yeah, so I've been working with that, and then we've been working on a kit called Beast, which is an NFT project for the last 6 months or so, and that's been performing very well, which we can touch on a little bit more in this AMA.
Absolutely. Well, welcome. It's great to have you here. Where are you at in the world?
So I'm based out of London, and our other team member Nick is also based in London. And yeah, but our community is generally in Europe, and we do have some members in the US, but predominantly we are a European/UK community.
So it's fairly late in the evening over there where you are.
It's not too bad. 8 p.m. I haven't had dinner yet, so I will be eventually, hopefully, getting some dinner after this. But we've been working a lot, working towards this, so it's all hands on deck.
Yeah, I haven't honestly had my coffee has been my food today. Not a good thing, but I'm excited to go grab a meal after this. So
for sure.
Silver, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Today's been productive. I just want to say also, I want to say hi to the Unji community, which have all trickled in here as well. Just want to say hi to you guys and thanks for being with us today and coming to join us on this community channel.
Absolutely. Hello, folks. Great to have you here. Silver, how's your day going?
It's good. I got in a hike this morning with my girls, and then we went to see the Elementals movie, and so there was a lot of crying between me and the movie, but it was good overall. I'm excited. Definitely welcome to the Ange community as well, and thank you again, Caleb, for taking time to join us. I know that you're on the other side of the world, but you travel quite a bit, right?
I do travel. Tomorrow I'm at the Paris Ethereum conference just to do some business development there. But I'm generally in London most of the time.
Outstanding. Well, anybody have anything else they want to say real quick before we drop this announcement?
I think we should just do it. What do you think?
I think we should just do it. All right. Silver, are you ready? Silver's got the link. All the good stuff.
Well, you know me, it's always controlled chaos here. So yes, I am going to post announcement links just in here in a second. Look at that. Boom.
All right.
Oh, look.
Awesome. I'll also post this into our group community chat.
Outstanding. So while that's happening, I'll summarize what's going on. We've been working on together with the Angie team for months now, putting together what we are incredibly excited about, a fantastic partnership that is going to very much accelerate the hopes and dreams of both the Lunar and the Angie ecosystem. There's a lot to take in with these announcements. The links are going live right now. Please go check it out. And we're going to talk about that here. Again, we're going to have a lot to go over in the days ahead. So there's going to be a ton of questions. It's great. Lunar DAO members, you have a vote that's going to be going live here soon. So make sure you're breaking out your ledgers and getting ready for that over on Lunar DAO. So let's chat about this. So Caleb, why don't you just start off with you're the one that reached out. Tell us about what you've built, what the Angie ecosystem is, and why a partnership interested you enough to want to come chat with us.
Yeah, totally. So I reached out to you, I think it was like 2 to 3 months ago, and those initial conversations, it was more, you weren't so receptive, but I wanted to at least I did identify what you guys were building, and there was a lot of synergy behind Luna and Angie, and you guys have an amazing development team that has really filled out a lot of the blank spaces that Angie wanted to do. And with our team being so busy with a Kid Called Beast, which became really successful, more than we anticipated, we wanted to make sure that we gave Angie Foundation and the Angie community the right team to take our vision and take it further. And with our shared vision, it just made sense to at least attempt to try connect with you and see if there was something that we could make possible.
Yeah.
And we got there after a couple of weeks of annoying you on Telegram. And
so, I mean, like, I want to stop just a second because, like, we get partnership messages all the time, right? And usually it's different technology, and I have a process that I go through in that. I'm like, no, this isn't the right tech. I'm not really interested. But Caleb did persist, and as I, went and took a little bit deeper dive, I was like, this is actually really cool. There's a lot of good stuff here. We initially thought about it as just swapping out the Angie Swap Lite widget into the Lunar Portfolio app to replace the Flues widget that we have in there now. And the conversation continued from there. The more I dug in, the more I was like, wow, we're really, we launched at almost the exact same time. We have a similar vision. We have similar goals. And the more I dug into the code, I was like, well, man, this code's really good. It's not that often in this space that you see well-architected, clean code. I know my community, or the community here knows, not my community, it's the Lunar community, but the community here knows the attention to detail that I have on code and architecture. And when I look at code, my first goal is, did the developer minimize the number of WTFs per minute as I read this? And right off the bat, like, that was covered. And so, like, as I dug in more, I was like, hey, there's really something here. We should check this out, and we should see what we can do. So, and then from there was, how are we going to integrate these strategies? How are we going to be able to really drive forward in a situation where 1 + 1 = 3? So,
for sure, yeah.
and you
And
guys
I
have been
can't
great
take the
partners in that.
credit. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't take the credit for the code. That's all Nick's handiwork, and we're really proud of the products that we have built and the community that we've built. And I'm just glad to see that it will be helping taking your vision further, and us being a part of your guys' journey, and also bringing our community into that journey as well with you guys. So really excited with what we've done here. Just to talk a little bit of what we built, we our main vision was to try and make DeFi more human, more accessible, create lower barrier of entries, not only for end users, but also for projects. And we always wanted to provide solutions for other projects that were coming into the DeFi space, and generating revenue not only for those projects, but also for our community, and also for charity. Now, with the whole DeFi space in the last year, we have to pivot, and we always have to be dynamic and agile in our approach. And so in doing that, we shifted more into creating a solution that's applicable for all projects, and looking for mass adoption. And with marketing, with the current state, there wasn't enough projects coming into it, but right now is a great time to build. And so we're just happy to be actually just be a project still in the space, still building. A lot of the projects
Yeah.
around us started disappearing, and it was, and then seeing you guys just continually, relentlessly, with such conviction, keep building. I mean, a builder sees a builder, and I just love that we managed to key up something between us.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, look, here's the thing, and for everybody that's listening, I reiterate this a bunch. I want to reiterate it again. 4,400 tokens were created at the end of 2022, especially right at the height of BNB. And BNB peaked on the BNB chain around November, I'd say 11th, 2022, something like that. Something like 3,300 of them, the last time I checked, 3,300 had died. So within this space, the number one goal for anybody who's going to survive is to get through this is to just survive, right? Just stay alive long enough to get to the other side. And then what do you do from there? Sorry, yeah, I saw in the chat, I meant 2021, not 2022, sorry, at the end of 2021. So survival, how do you structure the project to survive when so many others are dying around you? And then how do you build to thrive? And that's really been our focus from day one of the Lunar Foundation. The foundation directors have been amazing. I'm really proud of all the work that the foundation has done. And for those of you that are in here, as you're reading everything you've got going on, go check out our blog. We've got a ton of posts up there. We've been translating our weekly DAO updates into monthly updates for everybody. We're going to be able to share a little bit more in some of the updates over the last few weeks, as we've been under NDA and haven't been able to publish those weekly updates. Hopefully now you folks know why, and we go from there. So yeah, survival has just been our key. And how do you do it while you're building a real, actual, legitimate business? And what I loved about going through the Angie ecosystem is there was real legitimate value there, and there's some clear innovations within the space, and there was a ton of overlap. And so I love unique solutions, and I love it when it was clear from the jump, as I dug in and took my skeptical glasses off, that both teams had a really aligned, shared vision, and it was going to be much better to work together in this space than try to survive on our own.
for sure. And I
And
think
I think actually,
Oh.
since I'm not a director, I'd love to go ahead, and then I'd love to kick it over to Silverdust and see, the foundation director perspective.
For sure. Yeah, I was just wanted to reiterate that, yeah, right now is a great time for projects to position themselves for, say, when there's the next influx of money coming through the space. So as survival is key, and if you can survive that and you are already at the door once things start moving in the space,
Absolutely.
those are the real winners that, people will talk about mid bull run. And people always say, like, I wish I bought in early. But the people that win in those cycles are the ones that are in the bear, like, in the tough spots. So for sure.
Absolutely. Silver, how did the foundation react to this? And
I mean,
what did you
honestly,
see?
so as Caleb had said, we were a little timid to, wanted to do some research and diligence and all that stuff first, because we get so many bad actors, we'll just call it, messaging us or DMing us in Telegram specifically. So the space tends to be pretty rampant with that kind of stuff. So I'm really glad that Caleb was persistent, and then we were able to do that research, and you were able to see how amazing, I mean, the community is amazing, all of the people, their development. And I was doing some research on a kid called Beast, and that's what actually brought me into Lunar, was the NFT side. So that was definitely exciting for me. But I mean, it's a matter of survival for crypto right now. And I keep thinking, looking at it as how things were introduced when they first did like cell phones, and people were like, oh my gosh, that's never going to take out. You're going to get, cancer from radiation, like all this crazy stuff. And then now, I mean, everyone has a cell phone. It's so mass adapted, and it's, accessible. And that's kind of like what, our vision matched with theirs is, making it for people, for everybody, and making it accessible. And that was just something that really meshed well with their vision and ours. And so it was honestly extremely exciting. So I think I can at least say that for all of the directors. We were very excited to work with them.
100%. All right, so how should we go over how this is going to work? What do you think?
I think we should break down, I guess, the paragraphs and outline kind of how. Should we touch on the transition straight off the bat? Oh no, let's touch on what our tech is going to help you guys build out, so we can get people really excited about the future for Luna and Anji.
Yeah, so I think that's great. So I'll kind of break down the strategy and how we're approaching this. So Angie has created a fantastic swap platform called Angie Swap. It's on 7 blockchains. I'm really excited about that. That was one of the first things that drew me in. The second thing that drew me into this platform was how they manage within the swap ecosystem multiple liquidity providers. I can go in and pick where I want to get it from. There's intelligent routing within that process, but I can override what the system suggested to be able to do my own thing. And that was really one of the core tenets of Lunar Plexus and what we wanted within that process as well. The other thing that was like great is I thought was fantastic was they had integrated OnRamper, which is an on-ramp aggregate platform that has 15 different on-ramping solutions within the space. So those things just right off the bat was like, hey, this is really great. When it comes to Lunar, we started off and the project was initially launched as, hey, we want to be able to have a better wallet app and a better swapping system, right? But that concept evolved as we started having to solve problems within our space, and to build out this infrastructure, we ran into other challenges that we had to build out for that we're also working to productize. And so behind the scenes, we've been, in order to have, I should probably break down like how that works first. So we have 6 products that we have on the website we've been talking about for a while. There's Lunar Accounts, Lunar Mint, Escrow, Omni Wallet, Portfolio, and Plexus. And that really breaks down into the Lunar accounts as the core on how we do hybrid Web 2 and Web 3 identity within the space. And then everything centers around that. So Mint and Escrow, or sorry, Mint is the first product that we built last year to sell our NFTs. We built a really fluid, a really magical minting experience that I could talk about for hours and hours. So we're not going to go into a ton of detail on it, but the core is it's designed to let you run a branded mint experience on your own website. And as we dug into AngieSwap is also designed to be a branded experience between the widget and the fact that they use the same code and with different branding between Beast Swap for their NFTs and AngieSwap was like, hey, there's already some synergy here that's going to be great. And then outside of the Mint and token management, which is where some of our products are going to be going, there's this Lunar decentralized idea of having the Omni wallet be the core of how do you connect wallets together and look at your entire crypto assets in one view and make it easier when you don't necessarily have enough money in any one particular account. How do you move those tokens around in a straightforward way to be able to complete a transaction without having to wait 25 minutes for this crap to work? And then on top of that is Lunar Portfolio, which says, hey, I want to look at other token purchases. I want to look at other currencies. I want to figure out, like, when am I going to take action within the ecosystem? And then underneath all of that is Plexus, which is our decentralized exchange that will have single chain, cross chain swaps and all that other stuff. Now, within that vision, Lunar has taken a conservative view on how do you move forward within that space for a number of reasons. One, the ecosystem and in the United States really makes us like sit down and do our homework and think about how are we going to execute these things well. On the other side, there have been a lot of cross-chain bridge attacks in the last year that have really made us slow down how we think about building out that ecosystem and make sure that we do it right, because anytime something like that happens, it's your heart drops and it's not good for anybody. So how do you build out that ecosystem in a way that makes a ton of sense? So digging into how this is going to break down and how we're going to leverage this partnership moving forward. Lunar is going to take responsibility for the routing contracts and the AngieSwap platform. We're going to integrate it with the APIs that we've already been building to manage brands, to manage tokens, and to manage the process of listings. And we're going to put that together into a new platform called Plexus Swap. That's really excited about that. On our roadmap, we had Lunar Plexus pushed out until second quarter 2024, just because we were really concerned about being able to get that done right, and making sure that the ecosystem was going to work well. We can now push that forward. That we're targeting being able to launch that by mid-August with all the branding, and I'm fairly certain we're going to be able to get it done sooner than that. So that core is going to be part of Lunar Plexus V1, and the 7-chain, the routers are deployed on 7 blockchains. So we're now on, I'll make sure I get this list right, because this is one of the things that is definitely the most exciting for me. Avalanche, BNB Chain, Kronos, Doge Chain, Ethereum, Phantom, and Polygon. So Lunar is going to be a 7-chain ecosystem now. That is a huge win for everybody involved. Okay. On top of that, there is a widget called AngieSwap Lite. that you can use, that anybody can use to drop Angie's fantastic swap platform into their own app. We're going to replace the Flues widget inside the Lunar platform with Lunar's own technology now, to be able to have that widget be available to not only us, but also to any existing customer that's using the AngieSwap Lite component. We're going to update the branding. We're going to continue to add functionality. We're going to make it where you can configure that widget online, which I'm really excited about. And then people will continue to be able to use that to build Lunar technology into their own apps. So we're going to start to build out this developer ecosystem that we haven't even really talked about yet. I'm super excited about. And I want to take a second and jump over to how does this affect the Angie, or the kid called Beast, and the ecosystem that's already there. We are going to white label, because the system's already designed for branding. The Angie team is going to get a copy of the AngieSwap system to be able to run on a kid called Beast as a backup for the future. However, we're also going to run and be able to make it so where they can, all the improvements that we're making to the swapping to Plexus Swap are going to be available to the Kid Called Beast ecosystem to be able to use for their swapping platform. So I'm very excited about that. The partnership, we probably didn't get specific on this, the partnership involves us running a lot of this ecosystem and then making a lot of our technology available to the larger ecosystem that the Angie and the AKCD team has built moving forward. So then after that core, so the Plexus routing system, and I talked about why we've taken a slow approach on the contracts. For those of you within the Angie ecosystem that don't know, we have our contract auditor is the top auditor for the Pink Sale ecosystem. And of the 150 plus projects that they've audited, we received, with our last contract update, we received their first perfect score, which is virtually
Amazing.
impossible to do.
Virtually impossible. That's incredible.
So I'm really excited. To my understanding, the Angie team was already working on a token migration to be able to move to upgradable smart contracts. We already have that ecosystem in place. We already have an upgradable foundation, and we've already done the work. We have an amazing test build deployment system. We have hundreds of tests that run against our contracts. We're very excited about all of that. So that we're going to take all of that engineering that we've built into being able to rapidly deploy and that framework that we've built on top of the perfect score ecosystem. We're going to integrate that with the AngieSwap routers to be able to upgrade all of the routers to upgradable smart contracts, to be able to add functionality as necessary within those to be able to run the space. And those contracts and that routing system will be the core of the Lunar Plexus routing system. And what's great about that is the single chain swaps, those are all there already, ready to go. What it's going to allow us to do is focus the majority of our engineering effort on how do you build this cross-chain swap functionality without opening yourself up to an attack. And that's still a lot of engineering work that's going to take place, but we're going to be able to build that on top of a rock solid ecosystem that already has single chain swaps figured out. We're going to learn from all the work that the Angie team has done in building out the UI for that, how that interacts with the contracts, and we're going to upgrade all of that. So from a technology standpoint, and I know I've been talking a lot, I'm going to stop here in a second and we're going to jump back and forth on a couple of things. From a technology standpoint, some people are going to ask, well, hey, you know, it looks like this technology is different from what Lunar's been building. Why does it make sense to do this integration? The answer to that question is Lunar is built on top of the Microsoft stack. So we're built with Entity Framework, with Blazor, with Web APIs, with OData, with a technology called REST here, and a number of other things. Angie's ecosystem is built on-chain and on Angular. And so what's great about the connection between Angular and Blazor is that you can still use Angular code in Blazor. You can use Blazor to ship Angular code. And the code is so well done from Angie's team that we're going to be able to basically do a direct port of the technology from Angular to Blazor, and then make a seamless transition for the AngieSwap Lite users to have the widget be powered by Blazor. So I'm very excited about the technology and our ability to immediately go to work, taking the APIs that we've already built for token management and branding, integrate that in with the swap code base, and then over time migrate all of that web stuff over into the Blazor platform. So it's very compatible, it's very straightforward, and I cannot stress enough how great a job the Angie team did on writing code that was simple, easy to understand, and yet massively, massively powerful. So
thank you, sir. Yeah, I think yeah, it's really great to see how the Angie tech can accelerate Lunar's roadmap, and also the Angie community has been requesting some of the utility and functions that you guys have already been building out. So having this partnership really allows them to get that access, be a part of that vision, and I think it's a win-win for everyone involved. Also worth
absolutely.
mentioning, the tech is very agile, so integrating chains is very simple, and liquidity pools it's super easy to jump in. So Doge chain, we were the first swap to integrate it on day one, or like the first couple of days that it went live. So we're able to do that because of the code. It takes like a few hours, and say there's a new chain that comes up that becomes very popular and there's a lot of buzz around it. Luna will be able to really just push that out as soon as possible and try to be early adopters of those chains or those liquidity pools. So that's really awesome as well for you guys. Also, I wanted to touch on the AKCB partnership. So I don't know how much we're allowed to talk about it, but the Luna team has also been working towards creating great solutions for the NFT space. And with our relationship and partnership, Luna will also be supporting AKCB and using us as a proof of concept on a lot of solutions in the NFT space. So say we have a great idea about creating identities, Web3 identities, and databasing social profiles to an NFT, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be working with Luna to build out that product, and we'll be able to stress test it with our community and create an amazing solution / product. And we'll use it for AKCB, and then Luna will also be able to bring that to other NFT projects. And obviously with our network and connections, we're able to also support them in its adoption. So there's a lot of synergy across the board. It's I don't know why we didn't do this sooner, to be honest.
I mean, I'm a huge believer of the and actually we looked back a little while ago. Somebody did mention that months ago that we should work together, I think, in the chats, and I don't know if we caught up on it or it's probably in the middle of us trying to get a lot of other stuff done. But I'm a firm believer of things happen at the right time for the right reasons, and everything's just aligning at this inflection point where we're going to really be able to dig in. And I don't know that with everything else the foundation had to do to get up and running and get moving, I don't know if we could have done it sooner, but I'm glad we're here now. I'm glad we're working on this together, and I'm really excited about, as our strategy evolved, token gated experiences became a huge part of the stuff that we've been working for too. We spent the last 6 months really driving utility and focused on delivering utility for people that have our tokens. And month after month, you can go in now and see, and everybody can see the work that we've done for those token gated experiences. So now having another party, another group that thinks the way that we do, and understanding we're not alone in the universe, that there are other people trying to build these things. We're excited about the opportunity that brings for all the token holders of the LNR, AKCB, and Angie ecosystems.
For sure.
So
yeah,
really excited about that.
Shall we touch on the kind of transition and start talking about that?
Yeah, let's go there. And I think let me see, was there anything else? No, I think we're good. So I think who should be the best person to dig into that is what I'm trying to think through. Do you want to start off, or should I talk about our kind of thought process?
I'll start off for sure, and then
Okay.
we can tag team. I also wanted to mention that actually a lot of Lunar holders are Angie holders and vice versa. So
Yes.
we did with that little wallet analysis that we did. We can see that our holders are in the same community. So
I was going to mention that too. So that's glad you brought that up. So Lunar has 38,000 holders, and Angie has 9,300 roughly. We did an analysis and found that 600 of them held both. So that we're really stoked about that. There's clearly a good percentage of people that saw value in both ecosystems, and we're intelligent enough to see that value before the rest of us did. So we're like, hey, that's great. We should, there's really something here. So.
Absolutely. Actually, on second thought, are you able to touch on it? Because I don't want to mince the routes that we're going. Are you able to cover that, and then I'll talk about the conversion process and timing? Does that sound good?
Yeah. So we can go over that. So basically, looking at how do you bring this together? How do we make sure that both ecosystems can focus on what they want to focus on? And how do we make sure moving forward everybody has the best experience possible given the current larger environment? And so looking at, we figured out alignment on all the software and on all the products, and then the alignment comes on, well, what about the tokens? And so from a token perspective, if you look at where Lunar is and the ecosystem is, our token is much farther along within the holder base, within the quality, or sorry, not quality, the implementation of the upgradable smart contracts and our ability to update and deliver those contracts quickly. So LNR is available on 4 times more centralized exchanges. We have more volume across the ecosystem, and we have, generally speaking, better market position in terms of liquidity. And so the interesting part was there were a lot of great features within the Angie token code that can be ported over to the LNR token, and we intend to do that at some point in the future. But moving forward, it became clear that since the Angie token was going to undergo a migration anyways, and when you do it, and we've already been through this process on a same chain migration, there's a lot of education that has to be done on how do you get people to see the new token and all of that kind of stuff. And that was going to have to happen anyways, that it just made sense to migrate everybody over to the LNR token and have a single token for the ecosystem moving forward. So then the question at that point was, okay, well, when Lunar did our migration, we did a conversion ratio that was, I think it was like 10 million tokens to 1 token. And the reasoning for that was, how do we make sure that the price of the token is easier to understand? If Lunar is all about trying to make things as simple as possible, then having a price that goes back like 8 zeros doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we went through that process. We've been through this, gauntlet of how do we get people to understand how this stuff works. We have a ton of experience with that. So then trying to figure out the conversion ratios of how we were going to be able to handle that. and given the number of tokens left in our ecosystem and the number of things we had to do, we had some limitations. And so how that conversion process is going to work and what we looked at. And again, everything is in depth on our thought process for that. It's in the article on how to take a look. I'm sure we're going to have a ton of questions on it. We took 3 different approaches on how to try to figure out what the conversion rates were going to be and what was going to happen. What we settled on was a round number of 30% of the adjusted supply, which is going to break down to 1 LNR for every 733 Angie tokens that you have. Now, how we're going to handle that process as we move over is we have to be able to make sure that there's stability within the Lunar ecosystem. And when you dump the number of tokens that would be required to do this within the space at any given time, it's going to create a massive problem for the tokens in circulation, for the market cap, for a number of factors that are not good for the overall ecosystem. And so we're going to handle that migration with a vesting contract that's going to allow Angie holders to be able to acquire Lunar and trade in a token for the LNR token over the next few months. Now, how we're going to make that more beneficial to the Angie community is by giving this intermediate token a 1-to-1 voting power in the Lunar DAO ecosystem. So once this token is issued, you will be able to use it subject to DAO approval, and there's a vote going on for that right now, to be able to make sure that all Angie members have a vote in the DAO ecosystem and have a voice and a say. As this token vests, we're going to ease that token availability into the space using an amazing platform called unvest.io. They've been a fantastic team as well. They've built a great product around token vesting. We're going to be able to have that. The tokens will be on the contract for people to redeem, and we will be able to say that the tokens on that contract are not in circulation. And so being able to do that is going to help make sure that this transition goes smoothly, that we're not upending either aspect of the ecosystem, and that we can treat all holders as fairly as possible as we migrate everything over. How have I done so far?
Yeah, great so far. Yeah, so using that platform over the course of that period, then the Angie community will be able to vote on the DAO and be a part of the decision making, which is amazing. And eventually, over the course of 6 months, they'll have all their Lunar tokens, right? And then saying that the trading will stop on our bank and eventually also on PancakeSwap or the DeFi liquidity pool, and we continue forward. And after the course of 6 months, we'll be having a relationship, working together to make sure that this transition is as smooth as possible, and that we'll have another AMA also in another week. Is that correct? So we can make sure that all
we're gonna
questions are
have
answered.
we have AMAs. Our community is gonna, I would imagine, have a regularly scheduled AMA on Wednesday, and then there'll be another AMA on Saturday. We're gonna have plenty of time to be able to answer questions and stuff like that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So
I want to make sure. I'm seeing some concerns and I want to make sure I address them. The challenge within the ecosystem and how do we make this process work is there are simply not enough tokens in our ecosystem to be able to issue out an equal value in the same one-to-one token to everybody, and have any tokens left to be able to continue to operate the ecosystem. So we've got to be able to do this transition in a way that is able to make sense for both ecosystems, keep both ecosystems stable, and allow us to complete other transactions that we've been like, we have other things in place and other NDAs that we're under, so I can't talk a lot about what we've been working on, but there are other things in place that require us to be able to have Lunar in the treasury. So we had to come up with a way that was going to balance this process out and make the most sense and allow the community to be able to benefit the most from the process over time. And so
For sure.
that's how we thought about that process.
For sure. And also the Anji community will have a team, will be with a project and team and foundation and DAO where they can really, they're going to get exactly what they want from a DeFi product. And so we're really happy that they'll be able to be a part of the Luna project and be a part of the journey and have a team behind it that's really fulfilling on their roadmap. So we're really happy with this transition.
Yeah. So I want to jump in and say there's so the next things that you're going to be thinking about are the features that are available to Angie holders now, and the features that LNR holders and our token holders have been asking for. So first off, the fact that we're on 7 exchanges is really exciting, because one of the first things that pops into my mind is this challenge we've been dealing with around the BNB ecosystem, and how a significant portion of the BNB's stature in the space is dragging tokens tied to BNB down. And so we've been thinking about this problem. I know our Lunar holders have heard us talk about this challenge of how do we make sure that within our ecosystem that we can have a better balance of stables, that we can make sure that our future is not so dramatically tied to the BNB chain, and how do we get LNR into the larger space. So that process is going to be a significant portion of our focus. We've talked about this cross-chain swaps. We want Lunar to be available on more than one chain to make our future more stable and more secure. So as we're doing this process, we're going to be thinking about, how do we get LNR on Ethereum? How do we get LNR on Polygon? How do we get it available so where you can have it on whatever chain you want to have it on? That's super important to us. I know something that's super important for both communities is staking within the ecosystem, and I want to talk about that for a second. So Lunar, given everything that has been going on in the regulatory space, has taken a pause on staking. We implemented region locks and geographical modifications to the Lunar accounts ecosystem to make sure that whatever product that we release, we can control as much as possible who is using it in what region, to make sure that we're complying with all regional regulations. And as we've moved in and transitioned into being a DAO, it's been very important to make sure that we are protecting all of the DAO within that process. So the other part of it is we gotta like, as a development team, figure out how that stuff works, figure out how to do it safely and correctly and all that good stuff. So we have now within this ecosystem, we have staking infrastructure. The challenge is, how do we make that available in a way that protects DAO members and Lunar holders and the whole nine for being able to do it properly? So now that we have that infrastructure available to us and we can use it to augment the LNR token, we're going to be accelerating our review from a legal standpoint of that process, so that we can make sure that wherever we can do it legally, that we have staking online as soon as possible. And so everybody knows how I don't like talking about timelines, and the foundation can absolutely come in and correct me here if necessary. But our goal would be, our ideal situation would be that before the end of the year, we can have LNR and NFT staking process that will be specifically designed to help us improve liquidity for a multi-chain LNR and Crystal NFT infrastructure. We want you to be able to put your NFTs where you want. We want you to be able to put your Lunar where you want. And we need to be able to robustly manage liquidity across that space. So can I have that information in place, have the infrastructure in place for that, and we're going to be looking at how best do we put that together as quickly as possible. So
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting.
I think that covers that. All right. So I think it's probably time. Is there anything else we should cover? Well, there's one more thing for Lunar holders. There's a DAO vote live right now, and I want to be clear. This deal is done. We've talked about how we don't announce deals till they're done. This deal is done. We're very excited about it. The only thing that's left to bring everything together is for Lunar DAO to approve using and leveraging Lunar assets within the Angie space and vice versa. So we have a vote for that that's live right now. And Lunar holders, if you have that, please go and vote. We're very excited about getting that done. That's on a 48-hour vote window. So we want this done and everything squared away as quickly as possible. So please go vote, and appreciate your votes there. I know.
Sure.
I would imagine the foundation directors are here on this call, and so I would imagine that many of them haven't voted yet. We're all going to go vote here soon. I'm very excited about what this means for the ecosystem.
Oh, I'm multitasking. Val's already voted, and I just finished.
Oh,
so, yeah, multiple screens.
Good deal.
And I just want to make sure that we're going to be very hands-on as well over the next weeks to make sure that this transition goes as smooth as possible, answer all those questions that everyone has, and make sure all the understanding is quite clear.
Yeah. And I want to bring up once again, like, for anybody that has concerns, the first thing I want you to do is go over to the blog at lunar.io/blog. Check out all of the monthly updates that we have. Check out the ecosystem, understand what we've been building, and know that we have been ruthlessly executing for months within this ecosystem. And for Angie holders, we're going to be ruthlessly executing for you too. We're excited to have you in with us. We're excited to tackle any concerns that you have, and we're excited to help as we move forward, build out this ecosystem in a way that you're going to be proud that you were involved within this process, and you're going to see that our visions really are aligned in how what we're going to deliver. So
yeah, for sure. So I'm going to be a Lunar holder soon, so I'm very excited, and hopefully I can get in the Lunar DAO and start voting and have my say. Also, if anyone wants to check out a Kid Called Beast, feel free to go check out our website. I'll just post it. Oh yeah, we got some links going on already.
Yeah. And by the way, like, we have a lot to learn from, like, one of the things that makes me the most excited about this is Kid Called Beast was a fantastic launch on the Ethereum chain. We have a lot to learn from this team on how to be able to take our NFTs and build utility, build great things involved in it. They have a really great token gated ecosystem that I think we have a lot to learn from. And so for anybody that's been a Lunar Crystal holder and concerned about the utility, it's just another reason why I think this partnership is fantastic. Like you said, I wish we'd done it sooner, but again, you know, everything happens for a reason, and I think this was the right time. So
absolutely. All right. Well, shall we close it off there? I'm available in the chat, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to @me.
Yeah, let's
And
see.
yeah.
I think it's going to be about a good time to stop. Let me dig through and see if there are any questions that we can answer in the chat. Again, there's a ton to sink in. We're going to be available, plenty of more questions to ask.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with this partnership. There's so many components to it.
Yeah, I keep referring people to the blog and to the lips because there's like so much detail, going into it is just, so consuming. So I figure, do some research, do some reading, come back with questions on the things that may need more, definition and things like that. We'll be here for you guys. So no worries. Like Caleb said, we're going to work closely together and get all of this hammered out for everyone.
Absolutely. I think one question that we can answer are the tokens, the LNR tokens for the Angie airdrop are going to come from the Lunar Treasury. That's what the LIP is online for right now, to be able to set those tokens aside so that we can make them available immediately on the vesting contract. There's going to be transparency on how that process works. You'll be able to see those tokens are already set, and then we'll have more specifics on how that process works when we are squared and when that vote is live. Excuse me, and that process on how you'll be able to redeem this intermediate token for your Lunar over time and how that works. We'll be really clear on that once the instructions are live and the airdrop happens. So there's plenty more content that's going to go live too. We're going to have a landing page for this. We're going to have a bunch of other content that goes live in the days ahead. And I'm looking forward to having to seeing this ecosystem grow. So,
Hell yeah, I'm excited.
absolutely. Again, Caleb, thank you so much for being persistent.
Yeah,
Persistence
sure.
pays off, folks. This has been a long journey to get to this point. I know there's been a ton of work behind the scenes, just an absolute ton of work. I really would like to, on behalf of everybody on our end, thank you guys for your assistance and for your help digging through on the due diligence with the code and everything else. It's been an exciting journey, and we're going to keep working together on all this. So,
Absolutely. I also want to
ahead.
thank you as well for putting in a lot of the groundwork to make this partnership happen and making sure that everything's keyed up nicely. And yeah, a lot of thinking has been put into this in every aspect, every component of this partnership. So it's not, I'm not going to, it wasn't a decision that was made lightly. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that a lot of thought has been put into this, and it's the right decision for the Angie community, and it's very empowering for the Luna community, and just excited for this journey that we continue on.
Absolutely. All right, folks. We'll be around. Ask questions, ask away. We'll get to many of them as soon as possible. And hope you folks have a great rest of the week. DAO voters, go vote, and we'll continue to update you as the process concludes. So, thanks everybody for your time. Do you have Silver? Do you have anything else?
Just thank you guys for joining us, and like Jedi said and Caleb said, we'll be here. So we'll help transition everything, and we really appreciate you guys joining us. We will have another AMA after you guys have time to kind of like digest everything and go through it. So don't worry, we're here.
Outstanding.
Absolutely.
All right, folks.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Talk
Thank
soon.
you.
Appreciate you. Have a great
Bye.
weekend.